Hey y'all, it's Anna V, and you, my friend, are listening to the All American Wing Shooting Podcast. I am a hunter, conservationist, mom of 2 girls I have raised in the outdoors, and a proud owner of a truck full of dogs. My passion is guiding you to confidence, sharing in tradition, and celebrating the true meaning of success in the field. Here we go. Hey y'all, and here we are. New episode with Mr. Troy Nicholson from the Music City SCI chapter. Welcome.
Well, thank you for having me. How are you?
Well, I owe you a huge apology. Doing this podcast thing is the most inconsistent schedule. And I know there are some podcasters that are so professional about it and they stay on top of it and they only podcast on certain days during certain times. I'm not like that. Our schedule just doesn't allow that. So we're winging it all the time. So I texted you this morning and wanted to make sure that I was on Eastern versus Central time because you're up in Nashville. And I just didn't even worry about the time. I just worried about the time zone, right?
Right.
Well, a couple of days ago, I was podcasting with Chris Rudd about he's the breeder that I got my puppy from. And he just got me all gung ho about it. So I have tunnel vision on training this dog. So I was like, I have an hour. I'm out of here. And so that's where I was when you're like, hey, I'm on here. Where are you?
Those things happen and we just have to be flexible and go with it. And I didn't have no plans this morning, but to be here on your podcast and talk to you and so we're good.
Well, we have a new background here. Like I told you, technology wanted to fight me as well. I kind of asked for it, I guess. Paybacks for not being responsible. So, yeah, I got a comfy chair this time. Usually I'm in a squeaky old wooden chair and stuff. So I think that this little faux pas changed my whole podcasting comfort.
So, well, it looks good. I definitely like seeing the animals behind you and you know, it's
My
always
mom says that we should sell tickets, that it's like a museum here.
I have 29 animals just here in my living room. So, and people, when they come over for the first time, they're like, oh my God, this is like a miniature Bass Pro Shop, and
Yeah.
it's like, no, this is, being from Alaska for 30 years, this would be the norm for most houses in Alaska, but down here in Nashville, we're few and far between. But they're out there. There are plenty of them out there, that hunt and
Yes.
appreciate conservation.
Don't you think that it's so easy for us to get all caught up in our SCI bubble where we all live for the story of the adventure? And so mounts for us are very important to collect those, to have the achievements, because when we see those, we immediately go back to that moment. And not just even the kill, but the preparation. I mean, it could be the excitement at convention of just booking that hunt, there's just so much to it. And so when we get out of our bubble, it just kind of, we might look a little wacky. I don't know. We had some kids from the middle school come over, and Taterbug said, I'm not sure they were very comfortable in our house. And I was
Right.
like, why? I mean, everybody wants to come here. It's the old golf course clubhouse. And I didn't think anything about kids that may have never seen a dead animal before.
Right. Right. We have a trailer with our chapter called Wildlife on Wheels,
Mhm.
and we'll get requests to go out to elementary schools and we open it up and we bring out the lion and the mounts that are in the trailer and we educate kids about, conservation and what we do for the environment. When we let them walk through the trailer, well, they'll see moose, caribou, wolf, black bear, goats, animals from South Africa, and they're just amazed.
Mhm.
So the biggest thing with hunting is education, and having people understand that without hunting, there would not be a lot of animals, on the planet because we help provide food, we uh, help provide places for them to roam and be free, and to flourish.
I think that Music City doesn't get enough credit for that project. I'm pretty sure you guys might be the only chapter that actually has that trailer and does that type of education. And the trailer comes to convention. I know it's always parked outside the Omni. And so it's a huge attraction for people that are constantly walking up and down the sidewalk, that aren't even there for our event.
Oh, it is, and it kind of gives them a billboard to look and say,
Mhm.
what's going on in the convention, and get them a little curious, and maybe draw some people in that didn't realize there's a huge convention going on.
And it is huge.
It is very huge, and you never know who you'll see on the convention floor, or meet. And what's great about it is, and I've run into several people on the convention floor, Luke Bryan and um, you
I've
know,
been with there with John Party and
yeah,
uh oh my gosh, he's from here. It'll come to me and I'll tell you. He's from Dahlonega. Anyways, keep going.
and
Yes,
what
all the famous country music stars that are hunters, they don't miss it because they don't have to actually leave home.
right. And what's great is most people they just say hello to them and go on their way,
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
what's great about it is they get the freedom to walk around without being bombarded with people,
Hmm.
because we're all there for the same thing,
Right.
And I truly believe they have a great time doing it.
Well, Drake White was at your banquet, which is the kickoff for the whole week. Your local banquet is a stellar event with vendors, and I will tell you what stood out to me the most about y'all's banquet. Above every other banquet I've ever been to in the country, including every single night's banquets at SCI convention, is y'all's food is unbelievable.
Yeah,
You
I think
know
we
it.
do a
Y'all
pretty
work
good
hard
job,
for that. Yes.
Yeah, we get an opportunity to go in there and actually try the food a few weeks before we prepare it. And if we want to make changes, then we make changes to the food. Um, but our banquet, it does start the Monday night before the convention. So we do have a lot of people in town and a lot of people from other countries, that will come to the banquet.
Hmm.
And it's just good to meet and socialize with people of the same interests. And that's why, our banquet this year, our musical guest is Emmy Russell, and she is the granddaughter of Loretta Lynn.
Hmm.
And she happens to be a personal friend of Kathy and I, because my wife used to take care of Loretta. Um, but, and my biggest objective taking over this chapter as president this past year is I'd like to grow the chapter in numbers,
Hmm.
but I want to promote the youth hunters and I want to promote the female hunters. They don't get enough credit, and that's why I reached out to you and I said, Anna, would you please take a few minutes and talk at our banquet? And you're gracious enough to say, yes, I will, because I want the women who come to the banquet with their husbands say, hold on a second. You mean I can go do this too? Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. My favorite
Well,
hunting
you
partner
have some
is my
really
wife.
strong women there. I mean, Kathy, your wife is a poster child for big game hunting.
She is a big game hunter, and even at 73 years old, she's like the Energizer Bunny. She's up and ready to go first thing in the morning, and she loves it. She just loves being out in nature, you
Hmm.
know. Um, here at our place, we have 3.5 acres. She goes out and talks to the deer and the turkeys, So, she loves them, which makes it great.
So this is, I mean, you guys tag team everything. You're definitely a team in life, in the outdoors and at home. But what is y'all's vision for the Music City chapter? Because like you said, you do put such an emphasis on women and kids, and there's so many powerhouses in your town that may not even know that this chapter exists. I know that Nashville Gun Club, that's my favorite place to go shoot clays. I love that gun club. And I think what stood out for me there is a lot of times within the clay world, clay shooters aren't necessarily hunters, but hunters shoot clays. And there at the gun club, the guys that run that place, they're all real hardcore hunters. And so the culture there, I think, is a little different, even though they're super competitive on the clay side as well. They raise up some powerhouse shooters,
They
the
do.
youth shooters, And so it's like, man, when we had your clay shoot there, I just saw this, and I know that you guys didn't have like the numbers. I know there was a lot of overlapping things during that time, but I was like, the powerhouse people that are here, oh my gosh, this could just spread like wildfire, because there's so much going on. So I was like, okay, we haven't heard what you guys really want to do.
Well, we really want to get more of the community involved, and to understand and know that there's a place of like-minded people to come out and socialize with and get involved with. One of the things that our chapter does, that shoot actually raises money to where we take disabled veterans on a hunt at Fall Creek Falls every year, and we take 15. And last year, when I talked to the guys from Hero Hunt, which is a great organization, I asked Larry, I said, please find us some female hunters, that are disabled veterans, because we'd love to have them and host them as well. And we had two of them last year, you know, which was great. And they had a great time. They're like, sometimes they get overlooked or they don't get invited,
Hmm.
to some things. But we're encouraging that, and I want to educate the younger hunters that, hopefully one day, they're going to replace us,
Hmm.
and continue this great work that we're doing right now.
You know, talking about females, if you're a male listening to this and you're wondering like why are your significant other like isn't wanting to get involved or whatever, this is a very interesting spin because I was raised that the girls just go. I mean, my grandmother shot her last buck at 84. And so
Wow.
nobody in our family sat on the sidelines. So it was just normal for me. I didn't care if I was the only girl in camp. Like I had my own dogs and I made my own way there, right? So I felt like I belonged. But as I have transitioned back into hosting these ladies events and especially working with Griffin and Howe, those women have been so priceless in getting me back and even opening my eyes to the fact that number one, there's not a lot of place for women to get plugged in, right? So women are the fastest demographic growing in the outdoor industry, but they're also the first to fall off because once they commit, it's like, where do we go? And SCI has offered Sables that's on a national event, and then a lot of chapters have individual chapter events to keep women involved, and then they also have women go hunting. So there's two places with two different cultures where you can get plugged in with really like-minded people where you really hit it off. I do both, but I went on a trip. I hosted a ladies duck hunt earlier this season. It was the last weekend of teal season in Louisiana, and for the Griffin and Hal ladies. But we opened it up to other women too, and this was the most interesting thing. Um, one of the ladies there told me that women like to be personally invited. And instead of it being like a blanket thing, guys are like, oh, yeah, I'll just grab my buddy and we'll just show up,
Right.
And so I feel like because I'd hunted with the men for so long that I'd kind of started thinking like them. And so I was like, man, I never want a female to feel like she wasn't invited just because we sent out a brochure or just a flyer. That if she has to come alone, that it's too intimidating to like dart the door. But I've been there. So I was like, oh, sometimes we forget what it's like to get started because we've experienced this for so many years, the family aspect of this organization that um, it's so easy to forget that first time feeling. And so I think that's what I'm mainly focused on is like, I pass my cell phone number out to almost every lady that I meet at convention because I'm like, there's some really great women's events, and I don't want you to not come because you have to walk through that door by yourself into a room of women that you don't know. It's like, text me if I'm already there, I'll come and greet you at the door. And so it's the
Right.
same thing with your event. It's like last year we had a table there and we brought people that had never been involved with SCI before. And Drake White was one of them. And since then, he has put out a video. It's like a movie, honestly, the production quality of it on YouTube called the um, Ladder to the Sky by Drake White. Hurts, hurts the hunting, hurts the healing. And it's based off of a song that he wrote, and it tells the story of him having his stroke and how the outdoors motivated him to get back on stage and all the things that he had to do physically to get back to where he was. And I was like, I commend you for recognizing women and kids, but I also think, man, like, I wonder how many guys also struggle. Like, it's a common place where we all find ourselves in the outdoors. It's my testimony, um, even through my faith. Um, the outdoors saved me, honestly, like put me back on track. But it was also built off of my dad. My dad actually got shot in the head here, like where this logo is, with a 3006 January 1st of 1984. And it's a story that I really haven't talked about why the outdoors is so important to me. Um, but I think that we need to be more vulnerable about it because that way people are more apt to walk through the door even if they're walking by themselves.
Well, I agree, and one of the things that Tennessee does, TWRA, they have
Mhm.
a first time hunters for women duck hunt, and you
Yes.
can apply, and I don't know the numbers if it's 15 or 20 ladies that go out, and it's the first time for all of them. And I know a couple ladies that went and they absolutely loved it, and now they're into bird hunting.
Yep.
And that leads into the bigger, opportunities out there as well. So to have more opportunities focused on, ladies and youth, makes a big difference, and you're right, having a personal invite,
Mhm.
makes a bigger difference than somebody calling and saying, hey, you want to take along?
Right.
Well, yeah, taking along is fine, but it sure is nice when you get a personal invite to say, look, we want you, you
Yes.
know, to come and hunt with us.
Exactly, because and that's kind of the thing I was thinking about because I know that the lady that even opened my eyes to this, her husband is a big time hunter. He hunts the world. And it was so important to her because I met her at the cocktail hour up at the club when I was in New Jersey. And we just hit it off. And I was like, man, this is such a dynamic woman. I can't wait to spend a weekend with her. Like, she's got to come on my hunt. And I was sitting here thinking all the things that I was going to get from her, just her point of view. And she's just so cultured. And I just found her to be amazing. And she was thinking the same thing about me just because I feel like I'm just a redneck bird dog girl, but it was just that different types of life and how we feed off of each other. And it was amazing. And I was like, God, I've missed that in my competition life because it was always so serious and so focused that I'm loving the season of mentorship.
So, well, and it has to be out there. We have to get people more involved. And honestly, when my wife first went on first hunt with me, I had hunted with some friends the year before and the year before that. And both of the guys were like, they're kind of miserable in camp. They're like, well, I shouldn't be here. It's my anniversary, or they had an excuse. And it's like, well, then why did you come? I was telling my wife about this. She's like, well, growing up in Texas, I hunt, and I'd
Yeah.
be happy to go with you. And I was like, okay, well, let's do it. So I took her on her first hunt. She got a caribou, she got a grizzly that hunt, you know, but those are just the icing on the cake. What I
Right.
found was enjoying her company, being with her, watching her get excited about the hunt, pitching in when you need help out there. Once you do shoot, big game, you know, pitched in, didn't complain, wasn't worried about anything else but being there and enjoying, the outdoors. So ever since that hunt, she has been on pretty much every hunt I've ever done, whether it's Africa, Utah, Texas, Alaska.
Hmm.
She goes with me and she reminds me that her grizzly bear is bigger than mine, so she enjoys that very much.
And it is so much fun. So we do couples hunts as well. And going back and then having just the women's hunts, I took Taterbug with me on that teal hunt. And I was the host, right? So I felt like I needed to make sure, and I'd been the one that had gone to Honey Break before and all the things. But it was so cool because all of these ladies ended up pouring into her, and I could just step back and like, it was magical. It was absolutely magical. And it is something that I just encourage, even if, I mean, my trips are always open, but women can just take their own girlfriends, right? Like you guys have a group of hunting ladies, and it's just amazing what happens at camp. And then to bring that back into the chapter. Number one, the chapter is a place where you meet like-minded people to create these opportunities, but it's also a place where you come together to give back. And the reward of that is something that kind of can't be explained. You just have to experience it. I think we were the last ones to even leave your um play shoot because we had so much fun there and I made so many new friends. I was like, oh, I'm not ready to go. I'm trying to think where we came back from. It was in the summer, right?
Yes. Yeah, it
So
was, I
we
think it was
left the
August.
beach. Yes. I think we left the beach, came back, stopped at our house in North Georgia on the way, switched out our suitcases, picked up our guns, and went straight there. It was like this for 24 hours. We were literally in Nashville for 24 hours because your shoot was on a Sunday.
Right.
And then Tater had to be at school Monday morning. And I was like, it was so worth it. It was so worth it. And, and it
Well,
was just a clay shoot, but it was so much fun.
yeah. One of the other things that we've started this year is that our chapter offers $1,000 scholarship to any Tennessee resident that's in college, and they have to just write us like on why they would like, the scholarship. We get five of them now, and we'll do that
Wow.
moving forward every year. So, and I happened to ask our media guy, do we have any applications yet? Because we just launched it last month, and he's like, we have two, and he sent them to me. They were both ladies
In
that applied
college
for
in
the scholarship
Tennessee.
in college in Tennessee. Well, they can, as long as they're a Tennessee resident, they could be in college anywhere. They could be in college in Louisiana, Mississippi,
Oh.
wherever,
So
but
can
it's
you
for our
share
Tennessee
like
resident ladies.
what they wrote about?
Their passion for being in the outdoor and what it does for them,
Mhm.
to be in that environment, and um, just I was just excited to see that our first two applicants were ladies, and at our Fall Creek Falls hunt, the students at that local college, they come out and they help with skinning the deer, taking samples and stuff like that. And quite a few of them are ladies, and it's exciting to see because I know they're getting involved and they're starting to get that education and learn, um, so I'll be very happy when we give out those $1,000 checks.
Will that be at your banquet?
We're working out the details. If they can make the banquet,
Mhm.
absolutely we're going to give them at the banquet. But if for some reason, they have a conflict with school or something, we're going to acknowledge them for sure
Yeah.
at the banquet. Yeah.
So
So
how many people do you think attend your banquet? I'm probably like pushing numbers pretty high, but that room felt massive last year.
the year before we had sold out at 400 tickets. Last year, because we were in competition with the presidential election, I think we had 340 people.
Mhm.
We're shooting for another 400 this year, and I think we'll get there. And what's interesting is we just now started, reaching out to some of the people that have donated in the past.
Mhm.
But prior to that, last month I received over 20 donations saying we want to be part of your banquet. You know,
Yeah.
we'd like to donate this hunt. You know, I even have a hunt coming up that's going to be on live auction, and it's one of the big five, and it is exportable back to the states. That's all I'm going to tell you because I want somebody, to call up and say, "Hey, how did you get that hunt? I want one like that."
Yeah.
So, but it's exciting.
That is so exciting. So the if you've not been before, the purpose to go to the banquets is because you can get a deal. It's not always that somebody's there like upping these fees. Like sometimes you can get steals on going overseas on these hunts.
Oh yeah, a friend of mine, he purchased a wolf hunt for Canada for $1,500. So,
That, and I know people that are like gun collectors, and their biggest hobby is um, like banquet hopping to see which guns that they can get for a deal. It's so fun. I loved Ducks Unlimited here in Georgia because their merch is so nice.
oh
And
yeah,
so we would go in the fall. Our local banquet was September, and we Christmas shopped there. It's like everybody's getting DU logoed stuff
yeah.
because it was so fun to go and see what you could win. And then, at Christmas when people are opening it up, it was like, man, you don't know how hard I fought to get you that. And so it had been,
So
it turned into like a really fun game for our family.
we have there'll be three guns up for auction this year.
Hmm.
One of them is one you can buy over the counter and stuff, but we've had it branded with our Music City logo and stuff, and we actually had
So
it last
cool.
year too. However, we have two heavy hitters in the gun building industry building us rifles that'll be up for auction. And I can tell you the one last year went for $10,500. So we're talking exclusive rifles.
Okay. Well, you're tempting me, which I'm going to be there anyways. I had so much fun last year. Um, and at the beginning, like during the cocktail hour, there's booths already set up. So I know Tim Van Heerden with Kru Wing Shooting was there. I know that Beretta was there, which also was hosted by the Nashville Gun Club. There was several, like an array of, I guess, inside preview getting like to kick off convention. Like you can get first dibs on things.
Right.
Hmm.
And it kind of gets people excited, when they come to the banquet, knowing that convention's just a day or two away, and we have around 15 vendors at our banquet, so people get excited because, they get to talk to them. And it's a little bit smaller venue, so they get a little bit
Nice.
more one-on-one time with them
For
to,
sure.
talk to them about, what would I experience if I came to Australia, on a
Hmm.
buffalo hunt or New Zealand or Spain, so and we're going to have those vendors at our banquet this year.
Yay!
So,
And it's so exciting because you park and then you walk in that big um at the Omni, right? And then it's the big lobby, and as you come up the escalator, it's like you just build with excitement because as soon as you hit the top, everybody's there, and it's like shoulder to shoulder, and everybody's so excited to kick off the week. I think it's the place to be in town.
well, this year it's going to be at the JW Marriott next to the
Okay.
convention. We had
Oh, that's
it to
even
a
closer.
different spot, but it's the same thing. You'll go up the
Yeah.
stairs and you'll see the vendors and you'll get excited, So um, I'm happy to say that we've got some great people coming, you know, um, and you'll be able to find out whatever you want to find out about, whether it's wing shooting or, big game hunting or, maybe a deer hunt somewhere,
Hmm.
you know. So whatever you enjoy doing, you'll probably have an opportunity to talk to somebody that can help you.
And Tennessee does. I mean, I'm jealous because y'all are so close to us. And I was telling Matthew, I'm like, gosh, we need to stay home a little bit more because I think we are more rooted in Tennessee outdoor life than we are in Georgia. And the oldest daughter she works for the governor in that world, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we're not even like invested in her and Georgia. But all of our friends are up there in Nashville. I cannot say enough about your committee and who's involved in your chapter. You immediately feel connected. We're out of state. You and I and Kathy have already talked about like how I can get involved up there. So Nashville's a hot spot for everybody. And there's
It
so much
is.
more than just Broadway in Nashville, which we don't even hang out there. We love that Music Valley area. And so if you are a hunter, I will tell you that I shot my last turkey up in that area right across the road from Opryland Hotel. Like, and so I was like, I want
Awesome.
to mount this full body mount with it push buttons, and then like it's feathers like go back and forth, and some like song like I can sing a song to. I was like, that would be so cool. Um But yeah, there's so much to do with your chapter that if you're going to come to Nashville, you might as well make it around a Music City event and just get involved.
Absolutely. Even if you just want to volunteer and be a greeter, for a couple mornings, just to see the people coming in the door. Kathy and I do that every day. And to me, that's exciting. And a matter of fact, one of my friends from Alaska come walking through the door and I was like, oh my God, I hadn't seen him in, 15 years. And it was
Yeah.
great to see him and reconnect, you know. So it's just for me, it's just enjoyable, because I can talk to if I'm interested in a certain hunt or a certain gun or certain apparel, new, outfit, I can talk to those vendors and find out, what it's all about,
Oh,
before I
there's
even make the commitment.
nothing. Well, I would say everything that has to do with the hunting industry is there.
It is.
And for women, there's jewelry, there's furs, there's all kinds of attire from field attire to lodge attire. It's all there. But I mean specifically your chapter because you guys host events all throughout the year. So if you're coming, if you're saying, I want to plan a trip to Nashville, I say go to the Music City website, find an event that they're coming to. And even though you're not part of their chapter, they would welcome anybody. And,
Oh,
the whole
absolutely.
SCI
Absolutely.
family are outside to come and be a part of it. So what is up on the calendar for 2026?
Well, we don't have everything on there yet. We're going to have the shoot again. We're going to have the Wildlife on Wheels trailer out and about.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we are talking with a group about sponsoring their youth hunt, you know.
Yeah.
So that's on the horizon. There's just a lot of opportunities that we're looking at for 2026, but definitely check out our website because we keep it up to date. And the good thing about our chapter is if you're a member of National and want to be a member of Music City, we don't have dues. You can be a member for free.
I'm a member. I'm signing up
So
today. And
absolutely.
that's so funny because when we were up there with you guys at the shoot, I was like, I'm moving my membership up here like I was talking about church membership or something. It's like I can join every chapter, but I told Matthew, I was like,
You
I'm moving my membership up here. I love this. But it was
yeah.
such a good time. And that is the thing. Nobody really talks about it. We do it because it's our job, but you get so focused on where you live and getting involved in your own local chapter and then not seeing everybody until national convention, right? But it is a heck of a good time to plan like a short vacation to hit banquets throughout the year. And people miss
Oh yeah.
that, you know?
There's plenty of them.
There are. And so, like, Birmingham's within driving distance of us. You guys are driving distance with us. I haven't been to South Carolina. We went to Mississippi. We always hit every single one in Texas. And they're pretty good about keeping their dates together, except for West Texas. And I love those people, but they always like tag team it around convention. And it's so hard for us to fly to West Texas and then fly back home and then drive there because we have to pack so much for the week. We can't just have one suitcase for the whole trips, like Texas and Nashville. And I probably have like, I ain't gonna lie, I try to pack a hat for like every day. So I show up with all my hat boxes. We're in Nashville. I'm not coming without all my hats.
Well, don't worry about it because at our convention you can have one made
Well, I do
at our
that.
banquet. At our
Yeah.
banquet, and Planet Cowboy will be there again this year.
All right. So, yeah, I can't say enough about getting involved with you guys and how cognizant and focused you are about the people. Not even like the mission always comes when you get the people together. And you guys just are
Right.
so people oriented, and I love it. I wanted to celebrate it. I was like, you have to come on. You have to come on All American Mainstream Podcast and talk about it.
Absolutely. Take that opportunity. Don't miss it. And if you're in Nashville, come check us out because I'll tell you, you'll want to come back after the first trip.
Yep. So Monday night is the Music City chapter banquet. It is not part of National Convention. It's actually a separate event that's
That's
planned
correct.
within the same week. So to get tickets for that, you would go to the Music City website, but they are Music City SCI on Instagram. They do a phenomenal job posting. They have a great videographer, photographer that keeps everything beautiful and updated. And yeah, you guys got it going on.
Well, I appreciate that, and feel free to reach out to me, anybody out there, find my number. Give me a call. It's in the Safari magazine. And we'll talk. And if you want to get involved, absolutely, we got a place for you, you know.
Well, we love it, and I can't wait to see how things unfold with you guys, getting all these kids involved, and we're going to bring the women out. So, men, don't show up without your wives.
That's right. That's right.
I want to meet them.
Bring them out. So, and again, I want to thank you, Anna, for allowing me to be on the podcast, but to accepting my invitation to speak at our banquet. Because to me
Absolutely.
that's important. We want to give that personal invite.
Yes, and I'm so honored. I look forward to it, and I will see you so soon.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
The dawn's finally breaking as I leave this sleepy town. The sun is slowly rising and the fog is on the ground.